Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Vesey Total Grassroots Football Podcast, brought to you by VO.co. We are all about grassroots football. We want to help the community. We want to knowledge share. We want people to learn from all the challenges and the wins that every little person in this industry experience. Today's episode is all about managing and growing a grassroots super club. And we have the esteemed Colin Windrow, Senior Club Manager from WSB Woolton FC. Colin, how are you?
I am not too bad, okay. As I said, just getting over the weekend, a little bit disappointed with England, but as I said before, me being an Evertonian, I suppose, from Liverpool, I was made up because Jordan Pickford had a good
Absolutely. You know, for the listeners that don't know, we are still in the slight hangover of the Euros 2020. And you're right, Pickford did have a great tournament. I mean, that Jorginho penalty, I was going to be like, oh, well, that's it, it's over. And then when he saved it, oh my God, I was, the peaks and troughs I went through in that 10 minutes were unbelievable.
Me and you both, to be fair, as I say, I think it's been a great tournament. It's been the whole country come together. And as I say, to get to a final of a major tournament since 1966, it's been amazing for the whole, and the afterwards. I know there's a couple of social medias out there that usually get on the back of certain players, but the camaraderie with the whole of England, and they're the whole of the UK. Wales done great, Scotland's done great to get to the Euros as well. So as I say, it was fantastic for the whole of the UK. So very proud there was a
very small minority that embarrassed us for a little bit. But I think we've turned it round. I think you look at that, standing outside that Rashford mural.
100%.
Absolutely. 100%. We're back on track again. Qatar next year, let's crush it.
And what we get from a grassroots side of it is every single one of them people that represented the club, from Christian Eriksen right up to Rashford, right up to Saka, right up to Jordan Pickford, all started with grassroots.
Absolutely. It all starts there. So let's hit that, right? WSB Woolton FC. Give me a bit of a rundown, right? I think, we've given you this moniker of a super club, which I'm sure you love.
I love it.
So tell me a little bit about how it started. I'm assuming you weren't WSB Woolton from the start.
No, we weren't. As I say, this has been going for a number of years back, and we've done a bit of research, and there was an old fella who contacted us, old fella's dad, who contacted us, saying his dad in the 50s used to play for Woolton Boys Club, which was amazing. He now lives in Ireland. He's around about 70 or 80. He was, right. And we were blown away because we didn't think it went that back far. So we started with one club from the 50s now, I believe, from the 50s right up to now, where we've got officially, I think we've got just over 137 teams.
You got 137 teams right now?
137 teams. We've just been affiliated by the Liverpool County FA.
Wow.
And we've got just as short as 137 teams. Now, as I say, I'm not bigging it up, and I've been told we're the biggest grassroots club in the country, possibly in Europe. But as I say, where it started, you said your question there before, we round about the 80s, 85, 86, our chairman, who's a fella called David Woods, started with a fella called Steve Thorogood. I come on board just a little bit later. And with the odd normal grassroots teams, you know what I mean? Well, the one team, the two teams, the 3 or 4 teams and stuff like that. And then round about 94, 95, we started things a little bit serious in the community because it was the old adage of the old dog and duck or the hare and hound FC.
Yeah.
How can we make this better?
What? So why did you want to make it better? Was it? Did someone come in and go, right, we need football in the community? Like what? Or was it just you wanted to do it?
Just wanted to do it. I just wanted to get involved with, like, as I say, there was a few volunteers at the time who started the committee. As I said before, David Woods, who probably started all this off, and we just wanted to have a feel-good factor. And how can we make things a little bit more streamlined? A little bit more professional, should we say? Don't get me wrong, the sponsorship from the old pub teams are still there.
Yeah.
To try and make it more, I don't know, it was
you're almost like future-proofing yourself for growth, right?
Massively. It's from a safeguarding issue, first and foremost, from if someone had, like, I don't know, the old the old adage, had a little fight on the pitch or something happens, there was no people to answer to after that. So we had to go, right, how do we do this properly?
And you put some formal structure in it.
100%. So with the help of the County FA, who are massively part of this, especially the Liverpool County FA, I've got to give a big shout out to the likes of Steve Swinnerton, who's our Football Services Development Officer, who's been phenomenal through our club.
So they've had a lot of involvement. They've helped you grow, right? And in what aspect? Is that funding? Is that advice? Is that marketing?
It's just advice. And everyone, I say, we're just one club. The Liverpool County FA, I know, and every county FA in the country, they help out so many clubs, and the work they do behind the scenes, not just like, it's like us. I've got 242 volunteers, which are coaches, and a committee of 17. They're all volunteers, and they give up the time for the community. Now, me as you said before, a senior head coach, now I get all the plaudits and all that, and I'm forever batting them off, going, listen, this is not just me. This is the whole community. This is people from all walks of backgrounds of life who are just want to help out for them children who are actually changing lives from 7 to 17, from 17 up to 66. I've got someone playing who's
like the walking 66. Football,
walking football, and our vets and stuff like that, which are at the moment now our database of footballers is just over 3,500. But you add on the parents, you add on the grandparents, it's like 20, 30,000 people that come to watch
this
football.
Is a massive organisation, right? So tell me about MSB.
So MSB, this is where we actually changed. Now, a lot of businesses get a lot of stick in everywhere in life. They don't put back in. I've heard the Amazons and all that. But MSB was just a local solicitors who fella called Paul Bibby, who was football mad, and he was friends with our chairman Dave Woods, and he just said, how can I help? So we had a little meeting and said, okay, what we need, like every grassroots club, we need funding. He said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you X amount a year. You put MSB in front of Woolton and we will support you. And the stuff that they want, the money side of it at the start was great, but what they've done behind the scenes with the community, with the actual city, to promote our club. And that, I think that's why we've gone from being a grassroots club to, as you said, the super club. We don't see ourselves as a super club. We just see ourselves as a grassroots club.
Yeah, so this is like smart investment, right? This isn't just a logo on a jersey. This is a partner. It's not a supplier vendor. This is a partner, right? And they're talking about kind of a knowledge share for other people that may not have a jersey sponsor for any of their teams within the club, right? This was obviously a turning point for you guys. It was
massively. And they didn't want actually nothing out of this. All they wanted was the MSB beforehand. They didn't want sponsors on the front. They didn't want sponsors on the back. They said, whatever teams, if they want sponsors of the Dog and Duck on the front or whoever
this is naming rights sponsor. Right, gotcha.
And that's all it was. They said they don't know credit for it.
Yeah,
he just wanted to get involved with a community club.
So what's in it for them then? What was in it for MSB just to have, to name that team?
Nothing. So as I say, every time our little YouTube channel, they come out during the daytime, just say this is what they do, and they get the backing of that through our parents going, right, you know what? If MSB are going to put solicitors are going to put back into that, into Woolton, into the community, into the children, and that's all it's about. It's about the children. It's not about making footballers. It's about having a change of life. And when you're 7 to 17, when you're going 18 into going to university, you've been playing with your peers for 10 years. You know how to conduct yourselves all the time. And that's what MSB solicitors were all about. And and then it changed our club. It did. It changed our club.
It sounds amazing, right? So how, if there are other clubs out there that are wanting to get let's say a naming rights sponsor on board, it sounds like you knew these guys, or these guys knew you. You already had a relationship beforehand, or did they just approach you out of the blue? How can a club go out and find a sponsor? What should they be looking for? How do they need to kind of align values, or is it just a matter of I want X amount of pounds? Who's got the cash?
No. So when Paul contacted us, and then the lady called Emma Carey, who's taken over as the managing director of MSB Solicitors,
right?
They all contacted us, and then we said, okay, let's have a look at you guys. And we said, listen, we can take thousands and thousands of pounds off different businesses, different sponsors, but it had to fit with Woolton Football Club, our community and stuff. And then the right fit that was there, and it was sort of like, it was seamless the way we done it. But they said to us, right, you have that little pot of money for us at the start, which is grew and grew and grew, which is fantastic. You do what you want with it. We do what, no advertisements at all. And all of a sudden, and we had a sort of like a 12-month contract at first, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And then I say, I can't thank Paul Bibby and Sean Sexton and stuff like that, who was all part of him. But Emma Carey's taken it over, who's been phenomenal to us. And as I say, it's not about the money. It was never about the money. It was all about the community spirit.
Yeah, the partnership in the community. And that's a two-way thing, right? That they will raise brand awareness, for want of a better phrase, for themselves in the community. You obviously speak very highly of them. If ever any of these names get mentioned, I'm sure they're in good light, and they may generate leads from it, right? Because fundamentally, that's what it's all about, right?
And that's what it is. That's what a business is all about.
It's that indirect sales pitch, right? Yeah.
100%. As I say, with our 137 teams, I reckon about 120 of them have got sponsors.
Yeah.
So they've all got different sponsors on the front. And MSB could have come in and went, right, I want all our sponsors all on the front, all on the back, on the rain jerseys, everything. And they didn't. And that spoke volumes for me.
Absolutely.
Really did.
And I think, because we've got a good opportunity of having a chat with, like I said, probably the largest grassroots club in Europe, like you said, I think people overlook the fact that this is a large business. You're a large organisation. Just because it's sport and it's a couple of football club, a couple of football teams, it's no different, right? You effectively have a CEO and a board, and there's finance, there's marketing, there's HR, whatnot. Were there any jumps over the last 30 years? 137 odd teams, right? Did you go, from, we had 10 teams for 10 years and then all of a sudden we added an extra 30 teams? Were there any jumps in number of teams, and why do you think that is?
So we went back going back from the 7 or 8 years when MSB certainly took over. I was a volunteer as well with Woolton Football Club, as well as the Dave Woods and the likes of Keith Glover and Chris Leakey. I could go on and on and on, and all the other coaches. But I sat down and said, listen, we can make a business side of it as well. Do me full time. So I do a lot of schools in the community. And that changed us. That changed the way our outlook. Our grassroots side, which people are going to listen to this and go, right, okay, it's a business, it's money, it's a money-making scheme. All the stuff that the grassroots side of it, whatever goes into the grassroots side of it goes out to the children. The business side of it is, I say at the moment, we've taken on 2 more apprentices from Little League Sports and the Stephen Gerrard Academy, who are coming on board through the MSB Woolton side of the business. So we've got about 9 employees now at the moment going on the business side of it.
Yeah, sure.
And that's going through the schools, as you said before, getting an account manager, but all the others, the kit manager. I know I was speaking to Lee from Vesey all the time. Keith Glover, which I've got to make a big shout out to. Yeah, he's our kit manager. He's a volunteer. He probably puts in about 100 hours a week, doing the kits and stuff. But it's like a magnet. Yeah. You think, I can't be bothered. Sunday morning, November, bloody freezing. Yeah. But you still get up there for the kids, and he still sorts the kits out for all the kits and everything. And that's our partnership between the Vesey group, Discount Football Kits, Keith, myself, with Lee, and Matthew, and all them guys. But it's a whole package, and without one cog, as you said before, we're now, as you said, a super club. Yeah. But we are having to manage everything from finance, because we've got to be seen as whatever goes in, it goes out, and we're accountable for it. Absolutely.
Grassroots football isn't just about kicking a football, right? There is that business side. You can't shy away from it. So why do you think, and we'll talk about kind of the logistics of it later, but why do you think you have grown so much? Why are you different from everybody else, that you're at so many teams? Is it because you do have this business head as well, or is it just that the community is super strong on football? I mean, obviously in and around Liverpool, right, it's one of the top 4, whatever. there is obviously probably a stronger lean towards being a part of football in areas like that. Like, why do you think you're this big?
We are, as you said before, we are community. We are, but as Liverpool, in our area alone, in our, say, 3 mile radius area, we have probably got about 130 clubs who compete in the leagues around here and stuff like that. How we got so big, I just don't know. As I say, fantastic volunteers who've stayed the course. Is
it the quality of what you do as well? Is it?
I think everyone that does the grassroots side of it do it for a reason. There's certain elements, as you said, like the certain elements of the England supporters who are a bit silly. Now, there's certain elements of the grassroots fraternity who are a bit silly. But I'm saying 97% of us are all doing it for the same reason. It's to get kids playing football, young adults playing football. Someone said to me a few years ago, Colin, you must have run loads of football teams. I said, yeah, I've run. What's your best one? I said, my best one is I go in the pub and I go, all right, Cole, do you want a pint? Oh, yes, I'm an engineer. I'm a lawyer now. I'm a bus driver. Every single one of them is happy. They've got a job. And done my job. I've done my job then. Yeah. And that's what I feel.
I mean, that's what you see as success, right?
Massively.
Yeah. Let's talk about the structure of it all. So you've grown, like you said, considerably. There's a lot of money flying about. Or maybe not large numbers, but what I mean is there's a lot of transactions, right from the individual players, right up to obviously the clubs managing the club as a whole. What I want to do is talk about some of the challenges that you may have come across managing this size of organisation, because fundamentally it is there is a business side to it, right? What challenges have you had to overcome for this club in terms of finance because of the growth?
Finance side of it. So we tend to we've got as I say, an account manager now. She oversees the training facilities.
Accounts manager. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant account manager as in managing. No, right, I gotcha. Yeah.
We got accounts manager. So our accounts manager, Vivian Morgan, she oversees the training facility that we hire during the week, which is part of Leisure United, which is the Simpson Grounds, which is a fantastic facility. But each individual team has their own accounts. Now, we don't micromanage. We sort of oversee and say, please make sure you get your own Woolton bank account. Yeah. Don't get your own.
Use a personal one. At what point did you put in your accounts person? Was it 50 teams? 30 teams?
Yeah, it was round about the 50 team mark, I'd say. Right. I'd say.
And you'd recommend that? Would you have done that earlier, or did you need it?
I don't think I think it depends on the club. It depends on the structure of the club. If it's a massive community club, and even if you got 10 teams or 15 teams, if you think that's the right way for you to go, do it then. Especially once as you said before, once you get past the 50 teams, I think it's sort of a business side of it as well. Yeah. It's an accountability side of it. Yeah. And that's where because there's nothing worse than little Johnny or little Johnny's mum and dad or little Alice's mum and dad saying, I put my subs in and they're not and they haven't got them, where they've gone and stuff like that.
Someone needs to take that responsibility, because I think at community level, this little £5 sub is a lot of cash to people. That obviously rolls up into the business side. And if that £5 for that week isn't accounted for, someone's missing out.
Yeah, and 100%. And I've got to say, all of the teams, like the structure of the team, they have. There's someone, say one of our new under-6 teams, say MSB Woolton, Barcelona, because all our under-6s are all Spanish teams, because every year they have a different name. We have Spanish this year, we have French.
Oh, okay, that's your naming conventions.
And it keeps going up. I even had a World Cup winners.
Brilliant.
Got Romario, Tardelli, Di Stefano, and the kids are going, who's Di Stefano? And they're all like, and I'm going, oh God, I shouldn't have picked that team. But they love it now because they're under 12s. They absolutely love it. And they all find out who Di Stefano was.
Yeah, dig it.
What I'm trying to say is, for example, Di Stefano, they have got a coach, they have got an assistant coach, they have got someone who does the admin, someone who does the WhatsApp, someone who does their finances, who feed into our account manager.
Right.
So out of that team, but that is a community in itself. That one team is a community. And if you put in 137 teams in that community, it makes my job so much easier. I could not do that without them. And that's the volunteer. And that's MSB Woolton in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mean, that's great, right? And I think like the advice here is don't, or do look at it as a business, or at least partly of it, like I said, grassroots football isn't just about kicking football on the grass, right? I think if you want to grow, if you've got that ambition to grow to 137 odd teams, I'll be honest with you, there's probably not many clubs out there that want to be 137. Because
we didn't. It's just people coming. I think the word business, I think you should change it to professional. If everyone wants to be professional, and as I say, this is where Nike have come into it. This is where Vesey have come into it.
Yeah.
Said before, I said on another couple of podcasts, the changing from, don't get me wrong, the changing from the other brands that we had to Nike, to the professionalism of Vesey and the professionalism of Discount Football Kits, that's branded us out to a different level, should we say?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
So now we're getting towards the end. We could talk about this for hours, right?
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I think, the growth is obviously the biggest kind of topic in this episode. How do you manage the culture? If you, again, I bring it back to, I run a small business. It's easy to manage the culture of a small business when you can kind of see and feel everybody, right? But when you've got 137 clubs, and there's X amount of people within each club and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. How do you keep that community? How do you keep everyone energized and like the culture of the entire organisation?
So, for example, on Saturday just gone, we had our local presentation for our under fours up to under 11s.
Right.
That was 3,000 people turned up. We have a little piece of grass called Camp Hill, which is in South Liverpool. And that's where we started from, the little piece of grass in Camp Hill, and that's how we grew. And there was someone said it was like a mini Glastonbury. It was the mass of people with gazebos, with bouncy castles, which they all brought themselves, to a little charity match, to just under 1,500 trophies that we give out. As I said before, whatever goes into MSB Woolton goes out to the kids. The kids' faces and the response after that. The emails I got, can I join your club? How do I join your club? How do I do it? My friend's been there for 3 weeks and he's got a trophy. How do I do that? And that's what we're all about. Us, not just us, as I say before, clubs in the surrounding area, the Marshalls, the Mossley Hills, the Mags and stuff, they all do the same job. And they probably do it very, very similar to us. Now, why do people come to us? I don't know.
It's a secret sauce, right?
Yeah. Yes, secret sauce, McDonald's secret sauce.
Yeah, that's right. So, looking into the future, what is the future for MSB Woolton? Like, are you, do you want 150 clubs, 200 clubs? Like, he shakes his head. Listeners, you can't see this, but he's like, no. I've had enough. I'm going grey.
I'm only 24. Look, So, the future of us. So we think we've got the youth side right. That's what we think. We've got the youth side right going forward and stuff like that. Inclusion of our club. Anyone can join. Anyone can train with any child can train with our club stuff. So we're looking at the adult side of it now.
Wow.
So how do we get MSB Woolton playing Liverpool or Everton in the third round of the FA Cup?
Yes.
How do we do that? So we're starting with, we're putting in a structure now where the business side of it, we're building a £40,000 stand to try and get our club into the Northwest counties.
Brilliant.
And stuff, to play the likes of Marine, to play the likes of different ones. And that's our 10-year plan.
Yeah.
And
so it's about having that 10-year plan. It's about having that foresight to say, actually, we don't live day to day. It's great kicking a football around, but actually in 10 years' time, we want to play in the third round of the FA Cup.
That's what we want. That is. We actually seen last year. I think what's name played Tottenham,
Right.
I can't remember who it was. Played Tottenham in the third round.
Yeah.
The local side. I think it was Marine, or Southport or whatever.
Do you know what? I think it was Marine. And their pitch is like in amongst all of the houses. There's houses like within inches away, and there's people like drinking Prosecco over the fence watching the game. Couldn't believe Gareth Bale runs on the pitch. Yeah.
And that's what we want. And that is it. As I say, it was sponsored by Jamie Carragher and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But by the time we go up and stuff, and then that's what pinnacle is, having this young 5-year-old kick a ball and then go, oh my God, I could be playing in the FA Cup if I'm good enough when I'm
huge,
22,
right?
23.
Absolutely huge, yeah.
And that's our legacy. And that's what both all the volunteers, all the committee of MSB Woolton Football Club, MSB solicitors as well, that's what we want. And imagine it, like MSB come in from the start, give us a little bit of money to start it off, which is fantastic amount of money for us. Yeah. Imagine if they are sponsors of us going into a third round of the FA Cup. And then probably winning it in the semis or the final. God,
yeah, huge, right?
That'd be massive.
Yeah, Colin, it's been great chatting. If there are any sponsors out there that have got a bit of disposable income that they want to spend on a local club up in Liverpool, how can people get in touch?
So there's the Twitter, Woolton Football Club. There's the email inquiries at msbwoolton.org.uk. Go on our website, Woolton FC. My email's on there as well. You'll see all the stuff that we do and stuff.
So they can contact you direct. Absolutely.
Contact me direct. Anything you want, and I say I'm always here for a chat. That's what I want. That's our chairman always says, to put your phone down, Collins, but I can't.
Brilliant. Hey, Colin, thanks very much. You've been a great guest on the Vesey Total Grassroots Football Podcast, brought to you by VO.co. Listeners, thanks very much for tuning in. You can listen to a whole bunch of other episodes wherever you get your podcast from, Spotify, Google, Apple, whole kit and caboodle. Thanks very much, Colin. Cheers, listeners, and we will see you next week. Cheers.